We're spending the weekend in one of Australia's most iconic wine regions, the Barossa Valley. Over the next 3 days, I'll be eating, sipping and cycling my way through historic vineyards, local favourites and hidden gems. I'll be taking you along with us for the ride, sharing my honest opinions, what things actually cost and whether they're really worth your time. I'm excited to see what Barossa has to offer, so let's get into it. Good morning, it is day 1 of 3 of our Barossa Valley tour, and we picked up a hire car this morning from the Adelaide CBD and it took us about an hour to drive to the Barossa Valley. So this is the hire car which we are going to be using, and it's cost us $137. So I'll let you know how much all the petrol comes to on the last day of the vlog. In today's vlog, we've got a lot in store, from taking in some incredible scenery to having an amazing lunch at one of the wineries. Then we'll be checking into our accommodation for the weekend before heading out into Tanunda to go off exploring. Our first stop is the Avenue of Palms, which is one of the most iconic entrances to the Barossa Valley. It is basically rows and rows of palm trees, and it's the perfect spot for a quick photo. But we're going to be taking a look at the mausoleum, which is just up the hill to the left of us here. So this is basically where the Seppelt family were actually buried. So I'll show you once we get up to the top. The mausoleum was actually built in 1927, and the first of the Seppelt families, Joseph Seppelt, was buried here in 1930. And subsequently, all of the rest of the Seppelt family have also been interred here. So we're going to make our way up. It's quite a steep little climb, as you can probably tell by my breathing already, but once we get up to the top, hopefully we should have some amazing views over the Seppelt estate. And a short walk and we've made it up to the top. So just look at how amazing the views are in behind me here. So I definitely recommend coming up here to look out over where we'll be going for lunch very shortly. But this in front of us is the mausoleum. So this is where a lot of the Seppelt family members are buried. So it was cool to start off with the mausoleum and getting views over the valley where we're going to be staying for the next few days. But obviously we are now getting a little bit hungry as it's coming up towards lunchtime. So let's head over to the estate to go and grab our lunch. So we've now made it to our second destination, which is Seppeltsfield Estate, and look at how cool this is. So it's basically a massive estate which was actually established all the way back in 1851, and then there's car parking literally just out there too. So we're going here for lunch, where apparently the FINO restaurant is meant to be amazing. So we're just going to make our way over there now, but after lunch there are plenty more places to explore whilst we are here. But if you're not fancying a fancy lunch with a glass of wine or whatever, they do actually have a cafe on entry, which you can see just ahead of me here, which obviously sells a lot more cafe style food, whereas we are going for something fancy for Beth's birthday. So we've finally made it to the restaurant for food, which is FINO at Seppeltsfield, which is one of the most talked about spots to grab lunch here in Barossa Valley. It's got seasonal food, local produce and the perfect long lunch setting. So let's go head down there and get some food. So we've now sat down within the FINO restaurant here in Seppeltsfield Estate, and it is beautiful. It feels like we're sat in somewhere like the south of France or something. Just take a look at the scenery in the background, especially with how dry Adelaide is. This is sort of like a luscious green with the water fountain, and you can obviously sit inside as well if you would like to. But we have ordered our food and drink. So the food you can basically choose, it's like a feed me menu. So you can choose 3 courses or 5. It cost us $68 to do 3 courses, and you can also get a wine pairing with that too, and that costs $125. I'll also show the menu up now, so if you did want to get 4 courses or 5 courses, then you can do that option too. But in terms of the wines, we have both ordered ours. So Beth has gone for the Vermentino, which is a Seppeltsfield wine, and then I've gone for the FINO Vino, which is also a Seppeltsfield wine, but it's obviously got the name of the restaurant. So let's give ours a try and see what we think of this. That's quite nice actually. It's not too bad. Sometimes they're a little bit too harsh or acidic, should I say. whereas this one's not too bad. And we'll give Beth a try as well, see what we think of hers. That one's really nice too. I might actually prefer Beth, so I'll do a quick switcheroo while she's not looking, and then I'll enjoy my wine. But I'll show you some of the food once it's arrived. I don't know whether it will all come at once or whether it will come in different stages, so we'll have to see. And we have now made it to our last dish, which is the gnocchi, and it looks delicious, so we'll give that a try in just a second. But we started off with some breads. They brought out some freshly baked sourdough, which tasted beautiful. It came with butter too, and that was amazing. And then the first dish, Beth had the hummus dish, which was really nice, and she got some more sourdough to have with that hummus. And then I had the kingfisher, which was really good too, and it actually made the wine taste a little bit nicer, which was quite funny. Then the second dish, Beth went for the beetroot, which tasted really good, and I had the chicken with, it was like harissa dip, and that was very tasty. However, it did have a little bit of a kick to it. And now we're at our final dish. So as I was saying earlier, I've got the gnocchi, and Beth's got herself like a Moroccan chickpea tagine, which looks really tasty too. So we're going to give this one a try, and I'll let you know which were our favourite to least favourite. That is really good. I do love a gnocchi. I think my order there would be chicken number 1, gnocchi number 2, and then I did actually try some of Beth's hummus, so I'll do hummus as number 3. The food was delicious, so I definitely recommend going there if you're thinking about grabbing lunch anywhere. And the wine was really nice too, so do make sure to give some of the wines a try. And we're now going to explore the estate a bit. And the first spot which we've come across, which is literally right next to the restaurant, is the Jamfactory Craft and Design, which is just down here. So let's go and have a look inside of there. So we've come inside, and the first thing we've noticed is basically loads of these sculptures, and apparently it's very Gothic themed, which you can sort of see as you do walk around. There's like bones and stuff over there too. But one cool piece of art which we have seen is this here. So it looks like they've made it almost like out of cigarette butts, but they've made like a spider. And they've got other spiders which are crawling up here. It looks like it might be an oyster shell, which they've made it with too. So it's really cool how they've done that. So I think the whole layout is based off different artists which do different things. So there's like a jeweller, which is here. And then you've got some more jewellery on this side too. And it's quite cool seeing the little workbench, which they must work on to make it all. Next to the FINO restaurant too, but on the other side is the wine cellar door, where you can go inside and basically do tastings of different types of wines. So the cheapest one you can do is just $15, and you actually get 6 different wines, and you get to choose all 6 too. So maybe that would be a good option too if you came here to do wine tasting. But obviously, because I am driving today, we're not going to be doing any wine tasting because we don't want to be crashing that car. It's starting to feel like a little village whilst we're here walking around the estate, as we've now come to another shop, but this time it is one that does olive oil skincare, and it's at the vinegar factory here called Vasse Virgin. So we're going to go inside and have a look. Probably not going to buy anything. It's probably either going to be too expensive or we don't need it, but let's go and have a look anyway. That was a really nice shop in there, and you can actually look down to the bottom too and see them making some of the skincare products. It was like a little bit of a workshop at the bottom, and then on top was the store. And then if you went to the back, it was actually food tasters, and they had all the olive oils and the different things which you can try too. And it was actually had quite a bit of Christmas stuff on 50% off, but obviously we don't need any of that. We're now making our way forwards to the next stop, which is a gin place. So it looks like there's a gin place on the estate too. So if you're into gins and not into wines, then maybe you should come here and do a gin tasting. So the gin distillery is called Prohibition, and it was established in 2015, and they've got a distillery and tasting room. So we'll go take a look inside, but not going to be able to try any gin today, unfortunately. Inside it looked really cool, it was very modern too, and they still actually had their Christmas gins out, which looked really tasty. There was like a cinnamon one, which I love cinnamon, so that would have been a good one to have tried. But if you did want to do a tasting, it cost $24, and you get 320 mils. You get the choice of the classic one, and then there was a second one which you could choose from too, and they obviously had the different gins, and then you got to choose a tonic to have with them. So if you do like your gins, definitely recommend going in. Looked really nice inside, very modern, and the gins looked very tasty too. Just unfortunately today is the driving day, but tomorrow I'll be able to try whatever I want, as we're going to be cycling around rather than driving. Now this has got to be the smallest knife shop I have ever seen. Just take a look at that. Unfortunately it's closed, so we can't go inside and take a look. But now we're off to our next stop, which is our accommodation in the Mecure Barossa. So hopefully this should be a really nice day. So I'll show you around in a second. And we've arrived at our accommodation here in Tanunda, the Mecure Tanunda, and it's going to cost us $200 per night, which is about mid-range for the area. And this is what the room looks like. So it kind of from the outside looks a bit like a motel, you know, the American style motels. And if you can hear that noise in the background, that is because there is a loud vintage car, but there's also quite a few different ones. So you've got another one just to the side of us here, which looks really cool as well. So it seems to be that sort of area where everyone's got the vintage cars. But now let me take you on inside the room. So room number 2, and in we go. So this is what it looks like. So you've got a little bit of space to hang stuff up, and there's an ironing board and stuff in there too. We've got a fridge, and then we've got all of this here. So what we didn't realise is we actually read this card when we came in the first time, and this is all complimentary. So you get obviously bottles of water like you usually do. You've got your crisps, your Kit Kats, and then you've got a little bottle of wine too, so some Shiraz, which is probably one of the well-known wines here in the region. Then we'll have a look at a room in the second, but this is the bathroom. So you've got the sink, the toilet, and then a nice and modern shower too. So it looks really nice from the inside, especially compared to the outside. And then the main bit of the bedroom. So it's massive bed, which Beth wants to jump in right now. And then we've got like a lounge sort of area on the other side. So you've got a sofa and a desk to sit at too. And then you've got amazing views of the vineyard. Okay, no, maybe the views aren't quite as nice, but the room is really nice. And for just $200, which is £100 a night, that's not too bad. So we're going to get unpacked, relax, and then we'll head out this evening to explore Tanunda. With it being Beth's birthday, we had to get a birthday cake too. So we went to Cozy Cake in the Adelaide CBD and bought one of the vegan ones, and it was actually just $24, which is quite reasonable. And I have had this one before at work, so I knew it tasted good. Beth's already had her bit because with it being her birthday, she has to have the first slice. But let's see if it's as good as it was last time. This is a good one for any vegans. Cozy Cake in the CBD, nice and moist. I think it's like chocolate and cherry. Delicious. We're now heading into Tanunda, which is a really quiet town, and so far we haven't really passed anything, and it's about 10 minutes into the walk, but it should take us about half an hour to get to the centre, and then hopefully we'll stop and get a few drinks. Now we are a bit closer to the centre, it's getting a bit more lively, and it's quite funny. It's going back in time. So there's like a 50s diner over there, and then look at this car in front of us too. It's actually for sale, we noticed, and the seats are really cool in there as well. So it sort of feels like you're going back in time, and then you've got a really nice and modern restaurant in behind here called 19 18, but apparently it is quite fancy. So we're going to give that one a miss tonight, and we're not actually that hungry because we obviously had that 3-course meal at lunchtime. So I don't know if I'm going to have much food, if we're just going to have some chips with like a beer and a wine or whatever. So we'll just have a look around the town and see what we fancy. For our first drink this evening, we have come to Bar Musque, which is a little bar just on the high street of Tanunda. And it's really nice and modern too, and the bar is really cool, and it's got over 400 different gins. So if you like your gin, this is the one to come to. But one thing that we really like about this is the tables. Just look at how cool that is. They've got loads of different corks, and they've made it into a table. And that, we actually counted them out because we're that sad. And it was 24 by 24, so it's about 526 different wines, which they have had to use to make this table. But to drink, we have ordered 2 Barossa items. So Beth's gone for the Barossa cider, which I think we may have had before whilst we were down in Adelaide, and that one tastes really nice. And then I've gone for the Seppeltsfield Road Distillers Shiraz. So I've gone for a gin, because with there being 400 gins, I had to go for one of them, and look at how red that is. You can't see a much redder gin than that, and I've got it with tonic water, so we'll have to give ours a try and see what we think of this. I'll let you know how much it all comes to at the end too. There we are. It's very red. Look at that. Looks like Ribena. Oh, that's actually quite nice. Apparently it's got Shiraz orange and cinnamon, and I have to say it's got a very strong orange flavour coming through. The food and drink came to $43, which is actually a bit more expensive than we were expecting, but we've now moved a whole of about 10 steps next door to Z Wine. So this is a little wine bar, really quite cool one as well. It's got loads of like these sofas, it's quite like old vintage, and we have got ourselves a glass of Riesling. So we've gone for the Soul, which is Eden Valley Riesling, so it's only about 20 minutes from here, and we're going to give it a try and see what we think of this one. That one's actually quite nice, to be fair. As you can see, it's pretty clear too, almost like water. I'm happy that I chose that one, and I'll let you know how much it comes to once we've finished. And so our final drink of wine for the evening came to $14, which isn't too pricey at all. That's about £7, and it is a decent quality standard of wine. But we're now going to head back to the hotel. We've had a great day today exploring Seppeltsfield and also Tanunda, and we will be back to Tanunda to explore it on our part 3 of the vlogs, where we will explore it during the day. So hopefully all the shops and stuff will be open too, so it'll be a bit more lively. But tomorrow we've got another action-packed day, as we're going to be cycling along the Barossa bike trail to loads of different wineries. So we're basically doing a DIY wine tour, so you're not going to want to miss that. And if you have enjoyed this video, do make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you are new. If you've got this far, you must have enjoyed it, and you'll definitely be interested in what is coming up. So I'll see you all tomorrow. We'll be heading around doing our DIY bike tour.